It is Sunday, August 28th, 2022, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofatime, we're talking about things you need to know before you book a river cruise. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I travel all around the world to popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it was like to be there. I just returned from a river cruise just a couple weeks ago here on the Rhine River in Germany, leaving Frankfurt, going down to Strasbourg, France, and back. It was another interesting, eye-opening experience, and the daily vlogs from that journey are going online during the week nowadays. And now that it's the weekend again, and I'm back here in front of the red sofa, I wanted to share some information with you, some things that I think from somebody who's more of an ocean cruiser, some things that you need to know or should think about before you book your river cruise. I'm just gonna get right into it, and the first thing I want to talk about is that compared to an ocean cruise, the first day and the last day of a river cruise are so easy. There is no big security check like on an ocean cruise. You don't have to give your bag to somebody down in the port and then go to a counter with thousands of other people to check in. It's a lot more like boarding a train. You just kind of get to the ship and then you go into the ship. You may have to wait a little bit at reception then to get your key card and the information that might be waiting for you about the cruise, but no security check, no giving your bags to some stranger way down on land and then not seeing them until later that night. It's much easier. And it's just like that on the final day of your cruise as well, or the embarkation, or the debarkation. On an ocean cruise, usually there's this sad sight on the final night. Everybody's got their suitcases waiting out in the hallway. You have to put them out there before, it's usually like midnight, and then they disappear in the middle of the night and you don't see them again until the next morning on land. So you have to figure out what you're gonna wear and pack it in your backpack, and I always find that just a little bit stressful and unnecessarily annoying, I guess. And on a river cruise, it's not like that at all. There are no colored stickers. When it's time to leave the ship on the final day, you just sort of get up and go when you want. Of course, don't forget to pay your bill. But on an ocean cruise where there's thousands, sometimes 4,000 or 5,000 people on board. Of course, that is a lot of people that need to leave through these small openings on the side of the ship. And on a river cruise where there's usually less than 200 passengers, it's just way easier. Speaking of numbers of passengers, that is also a huge difference on a river cruise. There are ocean cruise liners that can accept like 6,000 passengers. That is so many people to be on this vacation with at one time. Most river cruise ships, as far as I know, don't even take over 200 passengers, and that has advantages and disadvantages. It all kind of depends on how you look at it. It's great if you want to connect with other travelers, meet some new friends, get some pen pals, find some people to, talk about other cruising experiences with. Maybe if you're cruising solo, it's very easy to sort of make connections with other people because everybody's kind of doing everything all at the same time. A disadvantage of that is if there's somebody annoying on your cruise, maybe that chatty Cathy old woman who just can't stop talking about her ex-husband. I've been there, I've met her. Or the people who know that you're making videos for YouTube and then purposefully walk into the shot so they can complain that you were recording them. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is one negative side of being just this small group of people who are basically doing everything all at the same time is if there's somebody that you'd like to avoid, you can't really avoid them. Another point to bring up that is also specific to the passengers on board is if you are, let's say, 40 years old or younger, you're gonna really kind of stick out on a river cruise. Especially if you're bringing children, like, people under the age of 18. There just aren't a lot of people in that age range on river cruises. I know some of you are going to be shocked to hear this, but I'm in my late 40s. I know you're all thinking I'm still 20 something, but I always tell the truth here on the very unofficial travel guides. And at my age, I feel young on a river cruise. This is not, I guess, an advantage or a disadvantage, just something you should know. If you are 40 or younger, you're gonna feel really young hanging out with the other people on board. All right, let's move on to a favorite subject for a lot of cruisers out there.
The food.
altogether, as far as every option goes, not just food, river cruises offer a little bit less variety, and the food is something that is definitely fits into that category. There aren't 21 different restaurants to choose from. There usually are no late night, midnight buffets. There are set dining times, and basically everybody on the ship eats at the same time, in the same room. Some ships do have a separate, smaller, more casual dining room, but it's so much different than an ocean cruise. One thing I would like to know from you out there, if you are like very experienced river cruisers, is have you ever been on a river cruise line that offers room service? Because on the lines that I've been on, that has not been part of the deal. As you know, on ocean cruises, that is something that a lot of people like to enjoy, especially having breakfast on the balcony. So, you know, just something you need to think about. And by the way, I still have a little bit of a cold. I don't know if you can still hear it, but my face is still just a little bit. Okay, another thing you need to know is that on a river cruise, in comparison to an ocean cruise, you're spending most of the time on land, whereas on an ocean cruise, you're spending a lot more time cruising. On both of the river cruises I've done, there have been stops where we've actually gone to 2 different cities in one day. So like you arrive in the first city at 9 o'clock in the morning, all aboard time is 12, everybody eats lunch together, and then at 3 o'clock, you're in the next city, and then everybody leaves and comes back to have dinner at 7:30, and then you cruise on down the river to the next city. Depending on how many excursions you book, depending on how active you want to be, I think some people could find that schedule a little bit taxing, because if you've already done one sort of big walking tour in the morning, then there isn't a lot of time to relax before you get to the next city where you probably are going to go out and do another big walking tour. So just something to think about. But as far as activities and being active on board, river cruises altogether have way less attractions than ocean cruises. There are no big casinos, there are no water slides, there's no big production shows. The excursions are kind of the main attractions. And by the way, most of the excursions are all history and culture based, so it's not zipline excursions, it's not jet ski excursions, it's going to a lot of cathedrals and a lot of museum excursions. However, this is one thing that I've mentioned in so many of my videos, and one thing that I really enjoyed again on this most recent cruise. The river itself is an attraction. Depending on what stretch of what river you are cruising, just sitting on deck and watching the scenery go by is one of the highlights for me of river cruising. And you'll see me mention it in the most recent videos that the stretch of the Rhine that I just did was in no way as interesting as the Danube. So if you want to see like castles and vineyards and mountains and things like that, then the Danube route from Passau to Budapest, or back and forth, that is an amazing route for just sitting on deck and watching the sights go by. Okay, I've got 2 more things I want to share with you, and I'm going to get to them right after this commercial break. I don't feel like singing today. Do I have to sing? Okay, I'll sing it. Did you get one? What was it about? Write it in the comments below. I always find it interesting to hear what kind of advertisements are being placed on my videos. There are times when a lot of people end up getting the same advertisements, which I think is a little bit more positive for me, because that means like a company has bought a lot of advertising space like all together on my channel. And then if a lot of people are getting a bunch of different ads, then it's more like individual things depending on your history. And I guess that's a little bit less lucrative for me, but who actually knows, really? 2 more things I wanted to share with you, and these are things that you might not have known about even if you have done river cruising before. The first thing is river cruising can be very expensive. Some of the most popular companies like Viking and Amma Waterways, they are going to be charging you around or even more than $300 a day for your cruise. Now, a lot of things are included on river cruises, all of the food, most of the drinks. Some cruise lines even have the excursions included. So the price that you're paying does come with a lot of benefits. However, European river cruising does not have to be that expensive. You do not have to pay $300 a night to have a fantastic European river cruise. And I can say that from my experience because the company that I just cruise with, Viva Cruises, their prices are much more affordable, and it was a fantastic time. Let me just remind you again, I am not sponsored by any cruise company. I am not paid to say anything is great. There are other YouTubers out there that do that. That's fine if that's what they want to do. I wish they would be a little more honest about it, but my opinions here on this channel are my opinions, and I would say if you would like to do a European river cruise and you just don't have it in your budget to cruise with Amma or Tauk or Viking, check out Viva Cruises. Highly recommended. And the final thing I want to tell you, which is going to be really surprising for people who've never done a river cruise, who've only done ocean cruises, is that if you want, you can fill your backpack with booze and bring it on board every day. Like I said, there is no security check to get on or off the ship. You have to scan your card to prove that you are you, but nobody's looking through your bag. And as far as I know, there aren't even rules about bringing alcohol on board. It would be kind of detrimental because a lot of these river cruises go through wine countries here in Europe, and a lot of people buy wines to bring back home as souvenirs. So I'm pretty sure it's not even forbidden. Like, you don't even have to be sneaky about it. But you try bringing a backpack full of wine on board an ocean cruise.
It's not gonna work.
That being said, if you're thinking about bringing booze on board to save money, there really isn't any reason to do that on an ocean cruise because most of the drinks are included. On the cruise I just did with Viva Cruises, everything was included. Beer, wine, cocktails, cognac, brandy, whatever. I would have liked to bring a bottle of wine home to share with Marcus, but we live here in Germany. We can go to the gas station and get good German wine. Isn't that kind of weird to think? This is, of course, not a complete list. There are so many other things I could tell you about river cruising, and if you are thinking of booking a river cruise, then make sure you subscribe to the channel because there are more videos coming from my Viva Cruises cruise coming up. There's the cabin tour, the ship tour, more daily vlogs. And next week, we are leaving for Barcelona to cruise on the Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady again. So all sorts of cruise-related content coming up here on the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. But until I get to those videos, now will come the time on Sunday Sofa Time where I comment on your comments live on air. In last week's Sunday Sofa Time, I told you more about how we ended up booking the Virgin Valiant Lady for a second time and only having to pay $280 for the entire cruise. If you want those details, check last week's video. These comments are on that video, and the first one is from Michelle P1. Michelle writes, I'm confused. I thought Virgin was all-inclusive, including drinks and specialty restaurants. What Michelle is talking about is, I had a question that got answered by some of you, thank you so much, about the drink package that Virgin offers. As you might know, if you've cruised with Virgin or watched any of my videos about Virgin, everything they do on board is just a little bit different than other cruise lines. They have 21 different restaurants on board. All the restaurants, all the food is included. There are no upcharge, specialty, extra price restaurants. And the wording of this bar tab sort of package that they offer where you can pay money onto your bar tab in advance and then they'll give you extra money to spend. The wording was a little bit confusing and I wasn't sure what was included in that. That has been solved, and Michelle is wondering, she thought that everything was included, and what Virgin does include is what they call essential drinks, meaning like just the things you have to drink every day, like filter coffee, Coke, water, and I think juice as well. Specialty drinks and premium drinks on Virgin are anything with alcohol in it, and the drink, put it on your tab drink package offer does cover then all of those. Second comment is from Andrea Griffiths. Andrea writes, my Virgin app is working, though it's too far in advance to, I think she means to do so much with it yet, but when I first got it, it was buggy as hail. I ended up deleting it and reloading it. That kind of worked. It's gonna be better more recently though. And Andrea, thank you so much for that tip. I deleted the app and reloaded it, and now it's working fine. However, the Dune Buggy excursion, which is the one I really wanted to book, is no longer available. And another commenter, Sergeant Split, was just cruising with the Valiant Lady, did that excursion, and wrote to me telling me all these reasons why I shouldn't book that excursion, so no harm done. Final comment is from Grazi. Grazi writes, when you get a new bike, find somewhere to hide an air tag on it. Yeah, for those of you who don't know it already, last year I spent quite a bit of money buying a new bicycle because biking is the way that I get around my city, and it wasn't even a year old and it got stolen last week. I've been talking with the police. The police say it's very unlikely that that I will get that bike back. Talking with my insurance, and the insurance of course is doing everything they can to not pay me for objects stolen here out of my home basically. So it looks like I'm gonna be forking out another however many 100 or 1,000 euros for a new bicycle. And Grazi was saying I should put an Apple AirTag on it. I was kind of, it's not until very recently that I figured out, or somebody explained to me, how Apple AirTags work, and it's a really interesting technology because it's just this little chip that you can put anywhere, and if you lose something, all it takes is somebody with an iPhone to walk past it and you'll get the information of where it is. So that's really useful and really helpful because so many people have iPhones nowadays. But what somebody was saying in the comments on this comment here, on commenting on the comments, was, yeah, but then if your bike gets stolen, the AirTag gets stolen too, because smart thieves look for and remove them. And I'm just trying to figure out what would be a good way to like hide an AirTag actually inside the bicycle, and if it's inside the bicycle, does it still send a signal? Does anybody know? And if anybody here in northern Germany has a nice bike that's for small guys and want to give it to me for a great price, send me a private message. All right, everybody, for next week's Sunday Sofa Time, I will be on the Valiant Lady. I'm going to try to go live while I'm on board. Can't promise you anything now, but keep checking back on Facebook and Instagram for more information about that. And otherwise, more daily vlogs from the Miss Viva Tiara coming soon. See you later.